Gentlelady from New Mexico.
Thank you so very much. So I want to begin, once again, I think so many of us around this table love our gas stoves, right? In New Mexico, you know, we love the gas stoves because we can make our tortillas on them and our delicious red chili and all of the things that both feed our souls and our panzas. But I agree with you, Representative Scanlon, that when I go to buy a new appliance, and we're talking about new appliances, I really do appreciate the fact that they get more efficient and more efficient over time because it does save money, and that the proposed rule that we're talking about here actually says it might save from $650 million to $1.7 billion for the consumers. I know I am paying less in electricity when I replaced some of my appliances. So the concept is very good. But the other thing that when we take the time, the precious time, to consider these bills, we are also not addressing some of the really important problems that affect America. So Biden doesn't want to ban gas stoves. Congress isn't going to barge into homes and haul away your existing gas stoves. But what Congress could be doing is taking up Social Security forms consistent with the Social Security 2100 Act, which would guarantee the solvency of a program millions of Americans rely on and needs our support. 83% of Americans want us to protect and expand Social Security benefits, but we're not taking that up, even though it's very popular. Why aren't we putting on the House floor the Dream and Promise Act to create an earned path to citizenship for dreamers, which 71% of Americans support? They want us to be doing this work. So instead of doing this really important work, we are taking up sort of something that got blown out of proportion. And I really wish we were spending our time on the issues that majorities, overwhelming majorities of Americans want us to do. And I look forward to, whenever I get around to buying my new gas stove, having it even be more efficient, because nobody's banning gas stoves, and my son is in culinary. He wants to continue using his gas stove, and so I'm going to make sure he gets to keep doing that. Thank you so very much. Well, let me ask Representative Pallone, is there anything, Ranking Member, is there anything else you want to add?
We just have to keep emphasizing that no one is saying that if you have a stove that you have to get rid of it or throw it away. We're talking about, as you say, regulations for efficiency under DOE, which would be 3 years from when the rule's finalized. Right now it's just proposed. And the other one, which is maybe even worse, is the fact that they would get rid of the agency that determines what's hazardous and what's a safety problem for kids and others. The way these bills are written, they wouldn't have the authority to deal with either of these issues in the future, not only with what they don't like now, but even in the future. And that would be a terrible thing. I mean, gas stoves can be dangerous, and there are hazards if they're not handled properly or manufactured properly. And I don't want to take that away from the agency. And I'm not going to substitute my analysis of what's safe or not.
Well, and I think it's really interesting that when we learn more about things, I wasn't maybe as consistent with always turning on that exhaust fan, and when it's nice, opening my doors. And once I learned about these things, it's like, I myself, I'm not replacing my gas stove now, but I can take more action. So knowledge is good, and science and research are good, and we should not say we cannot progress. We should always be curious. We should always be aiming to be better at everything we do. So thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Ranking Member.
Thank you. Gentlelady from Minnesota.